Ladies and gentlemen, my name is In the Game Kaya, and welcome to ITGK Survives. In this series, I will be going through every single arc map, both story arcs and player arcs, collecting every explorer's note, clearing every cave, collecting every artifact, and defeating every boss in my quest to become the ultimate arc survivor. Now, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Well, welcome to an episode of ITGK Survives that I will be doing post-commentary on and putting music and other things in the background, too. I didn't realize this. I recorded a couple of episodes. One I'm going to re-record because I realized this was a problem, but I'm also going to have to do this for this episode. Can't redo what I did in this episode. I already saved progress up to this point. My noise suppression on my microphone completely bugged out, and the audio got choppy, and at times you couldn't even tell what I was saying. It was just painful to listen to. So I'm gonna have to do this all by hand. This is fun. So yeah, and this episode was supposed to be Megatherium taming, and so I was preparing myself with darts and stuff, and just getting everything ready around the base, and I was gonna transfer myself to Genesis Part 2 to go ahead and try and find Megatheriums over there. For one, you can fly around in a tech suit, you can fly over these things, so you don't have to worry too much about like building traps and whatnot. And there are armed Megatheriums over there, so I was going to see if I could maybe find some of them and tame them. And you're going to see what happened in this episode as I process all of this crazy amount of spoiled meat. I had wanted to let the metal in my forges smelt, so I left the server running for a little bit after I got off last time, and that means that all of this meat just started to spoil, and so I had to take care of all of this real quick, but I did end up actually making a chemistry bench, as you can see here, and specifically to this partly because I had so much stinking spoiled meat, but really, I'm trying to work on industrializing the whole base, and so I just had to look for a place to put it, and I need to expand the base so bad. I keep putting it off, and I keep putting it off. And I want to wait until after the boss, because I'm trying to crunch and get that boss done, and so I just keep pushing it further and further down the road, but thankfully I have settings turned on, so I can just put these structures down like on the ground. I gotta make some more gas up because, again, leaving the server running for a while, I burnt a lot of my gasoline, and you kind of need it for this chemistry bench. But we'll just go ahead and make up some narcotics here. So we'll just pull the narco berries and the spoiled meat. And at one point during this episode, I actually ended up like completely filling this chemistry bench just with random stuff I was using to process. But I'm not going to expand the slots. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So much spark powder, so much gunpowder, so much cementing paste, and of course the narcotics that I'm making up here. I'm making so many stinking narcotics. But yeah, I'm going to get all of this stuff up and ready to process, and then we're going to head over to Genesis Part 2, and you guys will see just exactly what happened over there. This episode was nearly a failure, but it actually ended up being not that bad. So let's head over there. So, welcome to Genesis Part 2 with my painted shotgun, and of course I spawned in right next to an Ovis, which is perfect because Megatherium will eat mutton. They're omnivorous, I believe. At the very least, I know they eat mutton, so that's what I was going to use to tame them. Or if I happen to find a Uteranus, I would tame that instead, because technically I still need the Uteranus as well, and I wasn't super hard set on a Megatherium. I just need stuff for the boss, you know. And the Megatheriums are useful, but it's not the only thing that I need. So we'll get up off of the ground, and I already looked it up as to where they spawn exactly on Genesis Part 2. They usually spawn in the southeastern corner of this map, in the even zone over there. So that's where I'm headed. I'm orienting myself right now. I got to figure out which direction is north, and then which way I need to go, because I didn't pay attention to where I was actually spawning in when I spawned in on the map. But with the tech suit, you could just fly around the map, and and look for stuff. And at one point, I even turned the visor on to help me pick out these creatures. And very quickly, I realized that there was going to be a problem. So you know how I said I was going to fly around and look for Megatheriums? Well, I kind of did that for like 40 minutes, and I couldn't find a single one. I knew where they were supposed to spawn, and I actually did spot a couple of low levels, but they were super rare. At least that's what it felt like. I saw more Ovis and more Thylacoleo than I did Megatheriums, and that's the whole reason I was here. And I didn't see any Uteranus either. I ended up eventually going a little bit deeper into that southeastern corner, and then I started to spot some Uteranus. But it just took me so long to try and find one that was even decent level. I can't get low levels. Normally I'm not, super picky about the level that I get if I don't have a creature, but these are boss creatures. You can't just get like a level 30 or a level 50. You need those higher levels. And the mutton was spoiling, and by the time I even found anything worth taming, it was completely spoiled. But thankfully, eventually, I did find something that was worth taming. It just took forever. So I eventually found this Uteranus here. It's a level 145. And I had been having so little luck in finding stuff. It's like, okay, well, I at least found something. I know I have the darts for it. I can just tame it. I'll net it down, and I'll trank it out, and it won't be a problem. But I didn't realize was how many darts it was going to take to tame this stupid thing. And of course, it's in the middle of a very, very dangerous area, so I felt like I had to clear out the area a little bit with my shotgun. And it occurred to me while filming this that I definitely need a better shotgun and better long neck if I can get it, because as I start to get into these higher level creatures, I'm running around with these weapons, and they're useful, but they just lack that punch that really I feel like I need at this point in the game. So thankfully we're starting to run caves now, and that's usually where you get the best loot, at least on the island. I'm not going to the surface of Aberration for a while yet, so that'll have to wait, but we'll skip ahead a little bit here. And of course, by a few minutes, I mean yet another 45-minute gap, where I am now running nets and running out of darts and chasing this thing that's literally less than 1,000 torpor away from dropping, and having darts that clip it and don't actually induce torpor. And I'm gonna break my long neck, and I'm gonna run out of 100-something darts that I brought in here. And I've just been chasing this thing around and around because I didn't bring a trap, and it's like, it's so close, I can get it. And I just never got it. It was such a headache. I didn't make it. I wasn't able to drop this thing. And I'm doing my best to lead all of these shots, especially with no crosshair. I don't feel like I need it. Times like this, it actually is helpful. But I was so upset after this happened, because I had spent almost an entire recording session's amount of time on Genesis 2 already, and I'm out of darts now. It's not down, it just runs away. I'm out of nets. There's nothing for me to do but go back with my head hung low and retool. So I was hoping that, I'd at least have a Uteranus to show for it, or I thought Megatheriums would be easier to find out here, but no, there's nothing here. So I was trying to think what exactly I would do, and I felt like just stopping the recording session, calling it a failure, and just trying to start again, clean, fresh start. Yeah, I just would repair my gear, make up some new tools, and then come back and try and do it again. But I still had more time, in the time slot I had allotted for the recording. So I decided to head back to base, and I knew that I needed to do something. At the very least, I needed to repair my gear and just kind of think about what else I was going to do, because I need these tames. So, back to the island. So I knew that I had to make darts, and I had to repair my gear. So very first thing I needed to do, examine, how many darts can I make? I need more. I need to go back in with more than what I had. So that was number one. I need to repair my long neck. I need to repair my shotgun. I need more shotgun shells. I need more nets. I need to repair my harpoon gun. I need to make more gunpowder. I need more metal. I had so many things that I needed to do, and I had to get them done so I could get back to Genesis Part 2 and redeem myself. The gunpowder ended up not being an issue. I had a ton of spark powder. I had already made up a bunch, and I just kept making more and more and more. I have so much charcoal from all the production I've been doing. I wanted to make an industrial forge so that I could get my metal production going even faster, and I'm going to need a few items, so I had to get started grinding. Yes, I did the grinding of all of these items in this single session. It was a lot. I took a moment to check on the thylacoleos and ended up with being one step closer to the thyla that we needed. That makes us halfway there. And I went on a penguin murdering spree and was finally able to put that higher level club to use that I've had for a while. And yes, it does an amazing job at harvesting these things. Just take a look at the organic polymer that I can get out of this thing when I beat it with a club. And I'm going to need a lot of that if I'm going to make this industrial forge. I also took some of the resources I was grinding and made a chainsaw so I can get wood so much easier. And then I store it in the beaver for easy transportation. Took a dive into the ocean to look for black pearls and various sources. Couldn't find any Eurypterids and didn't want to tangle with a Mosa really. But I did actually find the black pearls I was looking for. It just didn't come from where I thought it would come from. By the way, you guys are going to want a chainsaw for this. Turns out one of the best ways I found to get black pearls was to kill a trilobite, which don't use the chainsaw to actually try and kill the stupid thing. It doesn't really work. But got a nice little hatchet, just a few whacks. Kill it. Chainsaw. Boom. 9 black pearls. And so I went trilobite hunting so that I could get a mining drill as well. But on top of getting the mining drill and the black pearls I needed, there was a Snidaria I was able to kill with my shotgun and harvest it with the chainsaw as well. And now we have shocking trank darts. Finally we'll have all that we need to go and tame something. I am not going to screw this again. Yet another upside to harvesting trilobites with a chainsaw is the abundance of chitin that you get, which is easy to turn into cementing paste. So, there you go. Another quick metal run with a mining drill and an Anki to load up the forges before we head back to Genesis Part 2, and then we're on our way back. So we're back on Genesis 2. We've got all of our equipment, and we're ready to go taming again. And I made up a trap this time, so I'll be able to actually trap something and knock it out that way once I find something that's worth, actually taming. I thought I would go and look for that Uranus again. I couldn't find it, but I did find a couple of other things that I did end up taming. But before we get to that, let me show you the world's worst trap design. This is how I trap T-Rexes. Yeah, I found a T-Rex that was definitely worth taming. It was over level 150 because it's a tech. A couple levels off of max. Max is 180, this is a 168. So literally 2 levels off of max level. But it's over 150, it's a tech, gotta tame it. I do like the colors. Kind of a bluish hit to it. Most of the time tech Rexes are ugly. This one didn't look too bad, I guess. So I just had to lure it over to the trap, and then we'll seal it in. Just gotta put this gate in place right there. And yeah, it can't get out. It's really weird looking and kind of big to be ideal, but it works. We just gotta knock out this T-Rex. So now that it's down, all we have to do is track down some mutton to feed it. I gotta take care of this thing. I wasted a dart on it, but just kill it, and then we'll go track down some mutton and feed up this T-Rex. And I went back over to not far away from the tech trench and found this Ovis, which I was able to take out pretty easily. I don't know why. The first shell of my shotgun never seems to register. But just hack it up, and then we'll go back and feed it to the Rex, which is still unconscious. I've got it tracked in the corner there. And by the time we got back to the tech Rex, she was already starved out enough that I was able to just throw the mutton in. She pretty much tamed right up. And I still had some mutton left, so I was thinking, you know, I've got these darts left, I've got mutton left. Could I find another tech Rex? Could I go back and find another Uranus? Or a Megatherium? You know, I need stuff to fight bosses. Could I use tech Rexes? Yes, I could use tech Rexes. But I'm gonna need more than one. Obviously, I need to be able to breed them. And I still need that Uranus. So let's get back out there and keep looking. I found a pretty good level Uranus, and I have to take care of its Carno Pack first. So a pretty easy way to take care of the Carno Pack, as long as you've got plenty of shotgun shells, is to just net the Carnos and then shotgun them down until they're done. Unfortunately, this does drain nets, because you're obviously going to want to make sure all 3 Carnos are down. Or you can tech punch them as well if you're on Genesis 2. Sometimes this tech punch doesn't really do a lot when it's on the ground. It seems to like clip into the ground. I'm not sure it's actually doing damage. So I did tech punch some, and I was definitely whittling them down. But once you take care of all 3 Carnos, then you can go for the Uranus proper. Trust me, you do not want to try and tame a Uranus while the Carnos are around it. This is something I did for the other one as well. I didn't really show it. I had to clear out the Carnos around it. And Carnos up. There's the Uranus back there in the trees. So just, if I can just kill this one that's still netted. I need to take care of all of these. I almost got pinned in there. That's a great way to kill yourself. And there's one down. And the other 2 are now healed, but I can net them again and trap them down. Boom. That didn't work. The net timer probably wasn't up. There's 30 seconds between when they get up from the net and when you can net them again. Now I have to net down the Uranus as well, because it's after me. But now I can take care of these Carnos. And this is pretty easy. You just hold right click, charge up a tech punch, and take these things down. I was worried that I might, depending on how much trouble I had with the Carnos, would I have enough nets to deal with the Uteranus. I did have a trap, at least. If I could net it down, I could put the trap around it and try and take care of it that way. But finally got rid of all 3 Carnos, so now we can deal with the Uteranus proper. And hey, prime meat. That's going to come in handy, considering we're about to tame something. So I netted down the Uteranus and put the trap up around it. I have to switch these to manual so they won't open while it's in there. And this, if I remember right, this did not work. I'm pretty sure it was able to just walk out through that gap there. It was just too much space. Yeah, building the trap around it feels like a good idea, but I don't think I've ever actually gotten it to work. So just drop down there, put the gate down, and run outside. And where's the Yudi? Running around in circles around me. And we died. So I had to fly back and get my stuff and try and take this thing down again. Thankfully it's on top of a mountain, so it's not that hard to find. Just fly back in, get the stuff, net it down, and trying to figure out what exactly I want to do with this thing to get it in the trap. I could just try and trank it outside of the trap, but if I could get it into the trap, that would be ideal. And I have the trap set up and ready to go. I got it all fixed while it's netted. I'm just waiting for it to get up. There it is. So we'll bring it over this way. Take some damage. Yes, thank you, HLNA. I just got to get back in that. In there. There we go. And it walked back out. Just brilliant. Walks in, walks back out. I should have set it to auto close. I'm low on health, so I'm trying to be really careful. I'll just go ahead and net this thing one more time. Or save the nets. And go for the darts first, since it's just going to stare at me anyway. This is something that you can do if you can keep them aggroed onto you, but sometimes they just decide that they're going to, leave. So that's why it's usually better to net them. So yeah, net it, and then trank it. And you can just stand right next to its head and just pop headshots on it. And I've got enough nets that once it gets up, I can chase it for 30 seconds, re-net it, and just finish tranking it out that way. As long as you have plenty of nets, you really don't need traps. You chase stuff in the tech suit and just net it, and it comes out fine. I would, if you have the weight for it, keep a trap, like that ribcage trap, in your back pocket. So finally, after netting it a couple of times and just continuing to trank it, it's down. And there's a Rex right here that's going to kill the thing. But it's pretty much dead, so just a couple of shotgun shells and, well, that's that. And again, like I said before, prime meat. We're right here. This is going to end up working out beautifully for this Yudi. And wouldn't you know it, there's a Megatherium in the bushes. Again, level 15. That's maybe the third or fourth one I saw. They capped out around 100, but that's just not high enough. Not for boss fights. Maybe for the Gamma, but I want higher than that. I don't want to have to breed for mutations to do the Beta and the Alpha. Or at least not many, if I can help it. But I've got it tracked, so all I gotta do is collect the food. Well, I glanced around and didn't see any Ovis in the area, so I just went ahead and fed it the prime meat, which ended up being fine anyway. I had enough prime meat in me, on me, to go ahead and tame this thing up. So I ended up with a Rex that's going to be the start of our boss army, and a Uteranus, which we only need the one for now. So that'll be fine. She'll be fine. And now that I have a female, I have a high level I can use for boss fights. I just need a male so that I can get my kibble farm up and going. And that'll be a lot easier because I can just get, whatever level I want. And if I decide to breed an imprint for boss fights, I can just steal the stats from the female and just breed them over into another high level so that I have high level Uteranus to use. And I stopped at this drop before I went back. You never know what you're going to find, like, a bunch of sulfur and some leggings. Those will come in handy. I'm going to need a ghillie suit to tame, like, insects and specifically bees. I'm going to need it for that. But now, triumphant, I return home with the 2 tames that I was able to get from Genesis. No Megatheriums! I came looking for Megatheriums, and I didn't end up with Megatheriums. Instead, I go home with a Tech Rex that's half of what I need to breed an army, which I can use Tech Rexes for the Broodmother too. I don't have to use Megatheriums. I just thought that I would probably use the Megas. But if it's Rexes, it's Rexes. They'll work fine. I just need to take care of the Prolovia and then transfer back to the island and unload. And so, after 3.5 hours of recording and a completely humiliating attempt to tame something on Genesis Part 2, I finally was able to come back home with industrial stuff set up and ready to go. I'll have the metal for the industrial forge the next time I get on. I have a Uteranus for my boss fight. And I have half of the Tech Rexes that I need at bare minimum to start breeding for an army. And actually, this episode ended up not being that bad. I wish I was able to stick to my original plan, and it wouldn't have been this much of a headache. But considering how much trouble I had the first time I went to Genesis 2 and how much wasted time I felt like there was in this episode, it ended up not being that bad at all. So, that's the end of this episode, guys. Gotta look for another Tech Rex yet, but hey, in the next episode we go and run that last cave, and then we'll be preparing for the boss fight. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you have a name suggestion for a member of the Tech Rex army that we'll be getting, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. And don't forget, you can always tell me if you have suggestions on how to improve this series. Go ahead and leave that down there as well. I really appreciate you guys watching this. I'm sorry it took a little bit for me to get this episode out. I had some trouble, as you can tell by the fact that I'm doing post-commentary. But again, I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I love this game. I'm going to keep playing this game. And I'm going to keep making videos on it as long as I can. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.